Hello, hello. Edson Oliveira here. This is the monthly edition of the DNN monthly chat. This is the February edition. And today is February 23rd, 2019, and it is 10:15. So we have a delay of 15 minutes here. So let's catch up. So again, good to have all you guys around. We are in the last day of DNN Summit. Is that right, Scott? Is that today the slopes?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, obviously I'm not there.
Yeah, I was able to figure things out. Yeah. But yeah, so again, we are just over DNN Summit, and whoever went through the slopes is having fun right now. Again, to be quite honest, snow and fun, it's not a real combo for me, but hey, you know what? We have all kinds of people out there, you know?
Not after this winter.
You know what? Again, what is this about? I mean, it's going from extreme to extreme, you know?
Yeah.
It's melting right now, and then we had, ice pellets, and I don't know. I mean, it's a crazy winter, you know?
I think it's an El Nino year, which means that, which means it's a wetter winter. I was having trouble. We're all having trouble saying things this morning.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's been really challenging, you know, and my personal challenge with that is because for the past 12 years I didn't have to do any much driving, and now I'm driving now a little bit, you know. So it's not a good start to get back to driving too much, you know. But what do we have to do anyway? Let's go back to business here. Let's start with a bit of a recap from whoever was able to attend DNN Summit. I was not there, Joe was not there, Mike was not there, but we had a representative there, Scott Wilson. Scott gave us the inside scoop of the event. How was it?
That's a big question. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with the the first day, the full day training. Yeah. How was the full day training?
Yeah, that worked out well. This is the first year, as you guys know, that we split the development training into two different classes, because one more of the introductory and one more advanced, which I did the advanced and Will Stroll did the intro, the intro one. And so I didn't have as many people in my class, but I still had a full class. It was still almost 20 people.
Really?
So yeah, because I think in all, if you combine the two development classes, we probably had over 30 people, which is like, normally what, yeah. So it was good. It worked out well. And I think.
Yeah, so as compared to the previous years, usually you had the saying of there was a group that didn't know much. And so we had extremes. So this time around, I guess the extremes got divided.
Yeah. I mean, there's still people that were like, well, I've developed the module, but I didn't really go through the, intro training in the past years. So that was kind of difficult, because you have to kind of figure out, what are the you can't just do hard prerequisites for these type of things. You have to let people decide. But yeah, at least it's nice where you could sit through until the first hour break and realize that this is too much for me. It's over my head. I had a few people like that, but they had the ability to just move back to the intro, or so it works out good where you could move around after the first hour if you realize you're not in the right place.
Do you have any insights into the other sessions, like admin, like evoke?
Not really, but I think I had the most amount of students, which is kind of normal. These summits are very development centric, and they had Ryan did the admin this year. Is that right? Yeah, and the theming was what's his name?
Overcamp? Is that Overcamp?
Yeah, Engage, right. And I think Brian Dukes was helping him out in there. And so, and what am I missing? There was, I think there was a liquid content.
Yes.
It's from
liquid content.
Yeah, DNN Diva, and was it Tracy?
Tracy Whitcomb.
yeah, so I think everything went well. And here is the trainer's shirt. They were bright orange. I feel like we could direct traffic with these things. Let's see if I can get the, there's the demons.
Yep, I can see it. Yep.
They're so orange, you would think that Engage Software had a part in their creation.
Right, yeah, so that's that. And yeah, so training.
Well, in a way, this is the previous years it has been a complete blue and an orange logo, so it was the opposite.
Right, yeah, so they just flipped it. Yeah.
Got it. Awesome. Okay, so that was the first day, full day training. I think there was a business roundtable as well, but again, because you are in your full day training, you don't know what went on there. That's fine. Then I would assume that the next day was the start of the event, and then it carried on for 2 days, correct? 2 day sessions?
Yeah, 2 days of sessions, and I think the only and so here is the conference shirt. That's these were actually white. They went a different route with that. It's very subtle on the camera, but I'll just show. There's the Yeti kind of climbing over the Denver. So there's the shirt.
Got it.
We did, yeah, I mean, I worked a bit, so I didn't get to attend very many sessions. One interesting one was Sean Walker's session that he showed off Blazor, 2 different flavors of that, where you have Blazor being the combination of browser and Razor pages, Blazor. And there's 2 different flavors of it. There's one where you could build, which I guess I didn't realize this, just that you could build, you could run DLLs in the browser. You could run code in the browser. It's called WebAssembly, and it's a common framework that's been, I guess, for the last year or so. Modern browsers have this built in, but not very many people are actually taking advantage of it yet. But you can actually run C# code in the browser. So that's the WebAssembly flavor of it, the client flavor, and then there's a server flavor of it, where it's basically just kind of a Razor pages with some wrapping around it. So it's very interesting. Sean Walker actually built a little bit of a DNN, proof of concept with it. So that was kind of cool.
Cool.
Got it. So let me ask you this. You said that it runs in the browser. So is that across the different browsers? I mean, Chrome, Edge, Firefox?
He said the 4 modern browsers support this WebAssembly concept, which actually has to run Mono, this Mono library first, and then it loads in the Blazor and then your C# components. Yeah, it's interesting. But I think Sean's demo was the server-side Blazor, which is more just like Razor. I think in .NET Core, .NET 3, which is coming out this year, that's going to be called, I think, Razor components, but they don't have the name defined yet.
Got it. Okay, that's interesting. Now, actually, I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but there is a blog post from Daniel Mettler, which is talking something about Blazor too. I don't know if it's something that's a new tool that he put together, or if he's talking about the same thing. It might be the same thing. It might be a mix match, but
it is interesting. Okay. It's experimental, by the way. Blazor is in no way. You guys know the library Knockout, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of the inventor and original engineer on that is one of the engineers on Blazor. So cool.
Awesome. Okay. So that's so. Tell me a little bit about the keynote.
Yes.
I mean, how was did you watch? Keynote?
Yeah. So was that online at all? Streaming? Okay. I don't think anything was this year, but
last year someone in the audience, I think, filmed it with their phone and streamed it, but there's nothing this year that I could find.
Yeah, there was actually a couple of keynotes. There was one in the morning from and it was from, oh gosh, I'm forgetting.
Is that the John guy from Microsoft?
John Galloway, yeah.
John Galloway?
And he was mainly talking about the new Core.NET, kind of evolution of it, and talking up the version 3 that's coming out this year, and talking about his history with DNN and that kind of thing, and also with the .NET Foundation, which is a 501(c) around the open source.net community and how we're leveraging, we as in the DNN platform, like Mitch Sellers and team are leveraging their resources, to help us with, and even I didn't even know this, but Ryan mentioned that even the .NET Foundation was helping with their user group by financing the Meetup, the $16 a month.
Not only them, but TADUG
right,
as well.
Yeah. So and some people, so they're kind of being helpful in various ways, and also helping Mitch Sellers and the EAP team with helping with drive decisions on how we move forward with the platform, get it towards .NET Core and all that stuff.
Got it. That's interesting. Again, just a side note about the .NET Foundation. They are right now promoting for the user groups because there will be in April a new version of Visual Studio getting launched. So Visual Studio 2019. So they are heavily promoting that and trying to push that the different meetups. They set up a watch meetup to watch the launch of Visual Studio 2019. So I don't know if I'm gonna do anything with TADUG about that, but yeah. So I see a lot of interesting things coming from the foundation. So okay, so that was John. By the way, do you recall any of his? Because you said that he mentioned about his story with DNN. Do you recall anything about that?
I don't remember, but it was probably back before I was even involved with DNN. I think he early on in his career, he had a lot. He used DNN for projects, and he was just kind of reminiscing about how, it influenced him early in his career and helped him out.
Got it. Okay. So in regards to anything from DNN Corp, any presence there of Andy?
Yes.
By the way.
So at the end of the day, there was the not the keynote, but I guess a second keynote. So it was split in two. It was 1 hour. The first half hour was Andy. The second half hour was Mitch. So one was about the direction of the ESW and what they're doing and with Evoke DNN Corp, right? And then the second half was Mitch Sellers talking about what we're doing as a community with the platform and our direction and focus and things like that. So here's the interesting thing about what Andy said. So first of all, I know this is public, right? So I'm not going to do, but we still need to be honest, right? If we're not happy, if we're happy, we don't need to be, but last year, I think there was a little bit of unhappiness about, Andy obviously presented kind of, the vision of what he wanted, like he wanted to grow the community more broad. And in part of that, I guess, had to kind of present like the community has kind of been shrinking over the years. And I guess, that may not have been the right avenue to show that to kind of the conference, because there's people coming there from the industry and, they don't want to see that. Because the reality is, even if the community shrinks a little bit, we still have a really tight-knit core team. And for businesses that are using the platform, they're not as concerned about, well, how many people are contributing as they are, is the platform stable and will provide a continuing support from my business, right?
Yeah, and again, just to interrupt you for a second there, Scott. And what businesses are also interested is, are there people, local people or even remote people that can support the platform?
Yeah.
Right now we are working with a client that this is their main concern. Can I find resources that can work with the platform? Anyway, just a side note, please. Carry on, Scott.
So, and a lot of the questions, and I'll show you what the big thing that was presented. I have it right here. But a lot of the questions that a lot of us have in the community, especially, as a DNN partner, we're dealing with Evoke mostly. We're actually, the opposite of most people are mostly platforms, some Evoke customers. We're almost all Evoke customers. So the question is, well, where's Evoke going, right? Because we haven't seen many new features released. It seems to be that the focus has been on the platform, handing over the platform to the community. Mike, we've been on those, TAP meetings. But then, so does that mean the community, we're the ones who are really coming up with the new features, and then once we come out with a new platform release, then Evoke just takes it and goes with it. And that's what it seems to be, because it seems like from DNN Corp, we haven't seen any new features for Evoke, right, in a while. It's just been stabilization. So this is the thing that was brought up. ESW acquired 10 companies last year, whether you know that or not, and they're planning on acquiring 10 more this year. So then it's like, wow, that's, it seems like a lot. Companies like, so I don't know if you can see this, but these are the companies: Kayako, Engine Yard, Business Apps, My Alerts, Fog Bugs, to be a few of those. So what they're trying to do is develop a portfolio of companies that could synergize together with Evoke, or DNN being kind of the CMS play of that. So for example, Kayako is a help desk software, right? There's another one that's like a Jira replacement, Fog Bugs, I think, management, project management, issue tracking, and support. So it's kind of like a Jira replacement, right? So the idea there is, and My Alerts is, customer engagement, there's marketing platform, whatever. So the idea that Andy's trying to do is you take on these companies, he's buying them, right? And then provide a model where DNN integrates to all of them, maybe through connectors or whatever. So then the idea, and I didn't really show you this, but the idea is this new concept is DNN Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
What is that? What do you think that is? Just the word DNN Prime.
No, actually, he has hammered that concept throughout the user.
Right.
The user conferences, that virtual user conference. It's a kind of a one price pays for all. You have access to all.
Yeah, and so right, exactly.
A subscription.
And that's what it says right here. One subscription, multiple or unlimited possibilities. So the idea behind Evoke seems to be now that you pay for a subscription for Evoke, and it's like Netflix, right? Whenever ESW acquires a new company, like say they acquire some new company that does e-commerce or something, and they can create a connector for Evoke to this e-commerce platform. So in Netflix, you pay $12.99 a month, and when they come out with new content, you just get it. They don't charge you for a new comedy program or drama that comes out. You just get it. So the idea that Andy's trying to do with Evoke is you pay the subscription, and when they acquire new companies and they integrate new products into it, you just get that. You're not doing cross licensing and all this other stuff.
I get it. Again, I mean, this is just my thoughts. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't even know if I really should share this kind of thoughts, because again, I may not have enough knowledge of everything that goes on. But I don't know, sometimes when I look at this offering of Prime offering, because again, this is not new. This is going on for,
that's right, I
think for about a year now that he's talking about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel that there's a mixed bag of different tools there that maybe DNN can be the connector to those, to make sense of them. Right. Not so much to make sense of them, but to make information flow through them. Now, is that a good selling proposition to whoever is already in the Evoke platform? Is that enough to keep people around in the Evoke platform or not? I don't know. I have my questions. I don't know. What's your feeling about that?
Well, I talked to a lot of people that were in my advanced class, and a lot of these are larger organizations. They're using mainly Evoke Basic just because they want the platform plus a little bit of support and the web farm caching provider. So they're not leveraging like Evoke content or some of the higher end products. So they're mainly focused on the platform and the scalability and of course .NET Core, like whether their modules will last year after year after year without major changes, and does this model help them? No, absolutely not. How? I mean, they're not looking for, project management tools, and they're looking for a development platform, and some integration within their business. They're not really like, oh, well, I need a marketing automation platform. Let's just see what the one that comes with it. I mean, that's not to say maybe new customers, right? Because
yes,
maybe that's you attract new customers and they like that. But the existing ones that are coming to the conference, I feel like this kind of fell flat for the audience at the conference, right? I'm not saying it's not going to be a good model going forward to get new customers or whatever, but it's not something that our existing customers are really looking for.
Yeah. Let's see how things play out. But that brings me to my next point here. So does that mean that, and to be quite honest, I mean, we have some clients that run an Evoke, not too many, but we have some. So does it mean that the Evoke specific development and enhancements, that's gone? That's in a halt?
So one thing that was mentioned by Andy, and again, I didn't really enjoy this part, but he was kind of comparing, he was showing the growth of platforms like Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, where they're rapid, consumer B2C consumer web development platforms, right? And how you could click, a couple times and your website's created. The theme is easy to apply. It's just a one-click operation. And it's kind of like, I'm thinking in my head, do you realize that's a different product, right? That's actually it's not even a product, that's an offering, right? So, and that, to me, that was a confusion, because if you can't really compare DNN to Wix, because Wix is a service, it's not a product, it's a service, right? And
yes.
we were even, Mitch Sellers and I were having discussions with some people about that. They're like, yeah, I think that's maybe a good idea to bring in that one-click functionality, to make it easier. And I'm like, well, that's not really a product offering, that's a service offering. You have to host it. You have to, part of that one-click spinning up a site is a kind of a hardware. It's not really you know what I mean? So that was a bit confusing, but to bring that back to your original question, right? The other confusion is, well, who's going to build that one click, easy to, apply the theme, start to get, provision your account, do all that stuff. And that's going to be an Evoke thing, which I guess is this Prime thing. That's not something that they're asking Mitch Sellers and the platform team to develop. So, again, but that was kind of confusing, because, he's usually talking DNN. He's talking DNN, but he's getting Evoke. You know what I mean? He's not being, I think, specific enough with his terminology.
Yeah, for years, DNN Corporation was the platform and was Evoke, and everyone,
right.
It's all so close together. And now,
right.
They're just a vendor. DNN Corporation is another vendor, and the platform is community driven. But I think to your point, the messages and the terminology and the closeness a lot of people have had to it kind of sends mixed messages sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And even people like even Mitch was going, are we supposed to, it was kind of confusing. I talked directly to Ash Prasad, and this isn't a secret. He is a product developer for DNN Corp. And he said, and I was asking, what is is that one click stuff going to be? He's like, that's going to be something they have to do as an Evoke thing. That's not going to be something we're expecting, the platform to implement, because it almost kind of doesn't make sense. Because a Wix type platform is probably is custom built for that service offering. It's not like they can just, open source Wix and everybody can install that and make it work for them. No, it's got to have a lot of backbone and service, it's built custom for that business, right? The actual software.
Yeah, and I think that the way we can easily, I guess, classify what's a product and what's a service is really, can I take my Wix website out of the platform and move it somewhere else?
You cannot. Right. It's a service.
Can I take my Squarespace? We cannot. So again, that's a service as you're putting it, Scott.
Right.
And again, so okay, so that's interesting. Let me raise one last point here. And again, maybe there are more points, but let me raise this one. So at this point in time, and not that I want that to happen, but I just want to see where we are sitting in the possibilities and the options. And if so DNN platform no longer depends on AWS, correct?
The community has full control of the build process all the way up to the GitHub, new releases. We have the whole build process is community led now.
Got it. I'm just saying that. I mean, if something.
A question.
Go ahead, Joe. Joe,
the relationship between DNN and the .NET Foundation, doesn't the .NET Foundation now essentially own the intellectual property that's the platform?
I think from a code perspective, that's correct.
They do ask that you were explicit with how the open source licensing works and the crediting of it, but as ownership, I don't know. I don't think it's.
They started going through some people in the TAG group and changing the top of code files. There used to be like a .NET Corporation comment line, copyright and stuff like that. That's all changing to, I think, DNN Community, which is the .NET Foundation portion of it. There was at one point some information. It's on the website. I don't know where it is, but from a logo and terminology perspective, like who owns DNN, the name .NET Nuke and things like that. I believe that's all kind of ESW owned with information around how a vendor could use it on your website or when you're advertising your extension or that type of thing.
But to a certain extent, the DNN platform is not exclusive to ESW.
No. And in fact, they're building a new site. I think they were throwing around. We're still not sure about the domain name because we don't want to do DNNsoftware.org because DNN Software is literally the name of owned by them. But maybe either DNNcommunity.org or DNNplatform.org would be the community website for the DNN platform project.
Yeah, I think the model for that is sort of the way that Drupal is divided into a community part and the company that actually owns Drupal, and they are related, but they operate separately.
Yeah, it's going to be the equivalent of Drupal as an open source project, and is it Acquios? That is Acquia is the vendor. Yeah, and that's an Acquia. If you've looked at their pricing, I mean that's a premium, product offering. So yeah.
Okay, so I guess let's summarize this as there's a lot of blurry lines.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are not super clear, but the point is that what's apparently, from what I'm gathering, is that potentially we can have the community going in one direction and AWS going in a different one if they decided to do so,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And hopefully we are working together, but it may or may not happen just like that. Again, hopefully we align interests, but if they don't, then it's okay. Anyway, again, it's a bit blurry in my head, and I'm not pretending that I fully understand all the intricacies here,
Now, as far as Mitch Sellers talk, I think landed a little more to the audience that where he's talking about what are we doing with the platform, the community, right? And so, and I think you guys know that 9.3 is coming out with the persona bar, a lot of persona bar improvements, including the React dependencies and upgrading. 9.4 is slated for. Mike, help me with this. Is that June, I think?
I think it's the June-ish time frame.
Yeah.
There's a 9.3.1 that is kind of targeted to come right after 9.3.
Right.
Just some quick tweaks in between.
I think if you were just looking at the calendar, June is probably an optimistic date for 9.4, considering that 9.3 is not out yet, and I was thinking there would be at least one more release candidate for that.
Yeah. Oh, there is. I think there will be.
Yeah. RC2 just came out recently, I believe. But yeah, you're right. The date slipped a little bit for sure. There's been a lot of changes in it, and if that kind of trend continues, you could probably safely guess that 9.4 will be a ways out. 9.4 is supposed to be everyone wants to get around a theme, which would be just continuing to improve the persona bar experience, fix accessibility issues, and just really tighten down the 9X series before moving on to looking at some of these bigger architectural choices like .NET Core and things like that. Because for years, people have been saying, features are missing from persona bar. So I think everyone's kind of consensus is let's fix that the best we can until we make larger changes behind the scenes.
Is 9.4 supposed to be the last 9?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I know there was some floating around mention of releasing something and calling it like a long-term support release, so that if you ever did go to .NET Core, which was a breaking change most likely, that people could still get around a 9 series and say, this is going to be supported from maintenance perspective for X years, kind of thing. If there ever was a transition to a bigger breaking change behind the scenes.
With regard to the .NET Core thing, I think what Mitch Sellers made it clear is that it's not in scope anymore. Like last year, we were talking about, what do we do? It is not in scope anymore to do a platform break, even a major version that's a complete break change. So it's not in scope. So what he's looking to do, because I'm going to try to get involved as much as I can too, is I think it was either 9.4 or the 10 that we were thinking upgrade to the 4.7, .NET 4.7. So what we're looking to do is try to introduce a razor page model for module development, still supporting MVC and things like in SPA, right? But the main thing is it's not so much, you could have kind of breaking changes. That's why we do major releases, right? They're meant for breaking changes. .NET upgrades, deleting old dependencies, Telerik or whatever. You should expect that. But what we need to do is give the ecosystem of module vendors a lot of leeway and not go like, you've built your module this way and you have 2 months to get it to this way or whatever. So if we could start building on razor pages, it may still have to suck into a web form container, just like the MVC has to suck into web form container. But if we go to where it's natively supported as a .NET Core application, your modules will, maybe with minor changes, will work, right? So that's where we're going. The .NET 7 framework upgrade coming soon is part of that, because we want to get to where we could start making the MVC, bringing in the normal MVC pipeline, bringing in razor pages. And then, so yes, that's what, and yeah, I mean, Sean Walker's Blazor demo was really cool, but at the same time, it's experimental. It's going to be experimental for 6 months. We can't just, and that may be something, again, Blazor is based on razor pages, so that might be something we can evolve to eventually, but there's no longer talk of, we're going to have a 10.0 .NET Core breaking, completely branch breaking release and support something for a long time. The database and the modules and things like that will have to come along, and the platform could change drastically, but as long as the database and the module development slowly develops and supports, legacy, or you give them a year runtime or 2-year runtime, we should be able to do that.
That's good. Yeah.
As someone who kind of sneaks around the edges of the development community, the thing that has bothered me the most over the last couple of years is every time you tune out for 3 weeks, there's a new component being added in, and I'm not sure that's going to go away, but because .NET Core keeps changing. I mean, there can't be a DNN based on .NET Core until .NET Core is a somewhat stable platform, and it's just further confused by React, Angular, Knockout, and it's Razor, it's Blazor, it's something else. That's not a good environment to have something that's standardized. But the problem is the technology keeps changing. You don't want to standardize on old technology, and maybe it's just me who doesn't realize that this has been going on for years. But seriously, from 2006 to a couple of years ago, .NET Nuke was the biggest change that occurred in .NET Nuke was converting from VB to C#. Not so much what was underneath it all.
Yeah, and John Galloway.
To an end user, does that matter?
Well, I would say the end users for DNN though are typically corporate IT people that kind of understand this, and it is big on their mind that there, in two cases in my module development class, there was different large organizations using DNN, and they had 60 to 80 custom modules. So it is a big deal to those end users that those modules, they don't have to rebuild 60 to 80 modules all at once and incur a tremendous amount of technical debt. So, but John Galloway also addressed the point that you just made in that core.NET 1.0 and 1.1 and 2, and it has been a lot of changes, a lot of performance, amazing performance improvements that you've probably seen, and that they said the commitment now with going to 3 and all that is just stabilization. They said they acknowledge the fact that the .NET Core stuff, for over the last couple of years has just been a moving target. So they are committed to stabilizing that.
Awesome. Okay, so good talk, good discussion. I'm not sure where we are at.
I have one question about announcements. Was there an announcement about DNN Summit 2020?
Yes, that's likely going to be not confirmed yet, but they're looking at doing that in Florida. I don't know if they said Orlando. I can't remember if the city was announced, but in Florida, I think is where we're going to be next year, right?
That will get me there next year for sure. I like the warm weather.
Okay, so let's get things moving here. Let's light things up. Our discussion is very heavy. It's very deep, very profound. How about we do some rapping here? I came across this. This is kind of hilarious. Our friend Jeff Hardy, he's doing some rapping during DNN Summit, and I send you guys the link. I'm just gonna play the clip here in my end, so that you'll record that. And again, you can watch on your own. If you want to watch on your own, mute yourselves there, but I'm gonna play his rapping on e-commerce on his DNN Summit presentation. Let me see here. Okay, it's hilarious, just him trying to dance.
He also served cookies, right?
Find yourself, cause you own it's your code, you better never let it go. You got one shot, you got to the customer blows. You gotta go to the window. Use yourself and code it, you better own it, you better fix it, you better never let it go. You only got one shot online from the sales to close, or the customer choose a different window. Yeah?
Well, he's trying.
A little bit of Eminem there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. maybe this will be, we're gonna name this episode as the, I don't know, the rapping, the DNN Summit rapping or something like that. But again, good one from Jeff Hardy. I have a few photos here, hanging around.
You know, that rapping may bring Ralph Williams out of retirement to issue a rebuttal. I mean, you may remember, 4 or 5 years ago, Ralph did a rap for the Superfan contest.
Yes, I remember that one. So again, I'm just showing here a few photos, mostly having to do with the lightsaber, and we have a winner. I don't know what's the winner name. Eric LaFord. He is the winner of the lightsaber. So great stuff, and quite a few photos here I have hanging around. How was the attendance in general, Scott? How was the crowd there?
Oh, you mean like the size? I felt like about the same. There's actually a lot of new people when they announce how many people is this your first time, and there quite a few hands came up. Maybe a little lighter than last year, but not too much lighter. I don't know. I try to gauge it by the keynote and whether I can get a seat or not.
There were slightly fewer people registered this year than last year, but yet not significantly less, but it wasn't more people than last year.
Okay, again, just going through a few photos here. People seem to have had fun there. Anyway, I think that we can move forward here, as I think I covered it all from DNN Summit 2019 perspective. Anything else before we get going? Because this is really a DNN Summit edition. No, anything else? Nope. Okay, great.
There's probably a lot more, but we'll move on. You'll get the stories through Twitter, I'm sure.
No. You have something else?
No. I'm just saying there's probably a lot more going on that I wasn't part of. So you can get those through Twitter.
I get it. So I would assume that someone will post at some point some sort of a summary of a recap. So I haven't seen anything like that yet. But again, we are just it's still happening. There are still these slopes
still people
right
in
now.
the snow, and there's still people hungover. So let that maybe start. Let's look at it next week and see how that goes.
And there's some people hungover in the snow.
Likely most of them, yes.
Okay, so that was DNN Summit 2019, which is the bulk of our conversation today. In terms of new releases, the release that is there is the release candidate 24930. When I go to GitHub, it shows that it has been updated 10 days ago. However, I think that release 2 was released last month. I don't know what this 10 days ago means. Maybe it was a text change here in the description release notes. I don't know.
I downloaded an RC2, I would have said 3 weeks ago, but...
so there is an update here 10 days ago. I'm not sure what this update is about. Maybe it's just the notes, or maybe, again. But we still are on the same release as we were a month ago. So not gonna hammer this one any longer. Let's go to a few blog posts. I guess that because of the DNN Summit and all of that, things have been a little bit quieter than usual in terms of blog posts, but I see 2 blog posts from Daniel Mettler, which, by the way, will be the presenter of the next TADUG Meetup, but I'll go back to that in a second. So one of the topics, one of the posts that he put together is announcing connector razor blades. Oh, you said, what is the name of the technology? Scott, is that Blazor?
Yeah.
Okay, so it does seem to have anything to do with this post here from Daniel. But in any case, 2 posts from Daniel, one talking about this razor blades thing, which
the
is
razor blade thing is a library of mostly text manipulation, or at least that's what
for razor templates.
I haven't actually looked at it, but I read the blog post. But there are a lot of I think the razor blade is a set of tools for your razor. But it's,
I get it. Yeah. So that's what it seems to be.
Solving many trivial but common tasks.
Got it. Okay, so that's one blog post. The second one that he put together is about something called too sexy polymorph. Well, you can take this name so many different ways. Too sexy polymorph.
We should probably head in a different direction.
A lot of things come to mind here. But in any case, the point of this is that
you haven't even gotten to the open heart surgery yet.
I did. Yeah, polymorph enables open heart surgery. In any case, the point is that this is very experimental, and the concept seems to be about being able to release things in live staging, to have staging, to have true staging step into your release process. So again, it seems to be very experimental at this point. Maybe it's just a proof of concept right now, but hey, it's one of the many, I guess, initiatives that Daniel Mettler tries to move forward and push forwards around too sexy. Again, as I kept saying, one day you're gonna see DNN being a plug-in to too sexy content.
Well, I think it's a very helpful addition. And you could think of it as the too sexy version of workflow and approval in the HTML module. Where you can make changes in the module and they're there. You can see them as an administrator, but you're not destroying your production site while you work on it. I think I'd still prefer to work in a development or a staging environment and then move the thing over. But this is very helpful where if you're making small changes or trying to fix something,
I see a utopian future where DNN has a button that we click and things go from staging to live. Mike, I'm talking about you. You have the code for that.
Yeah, I built a tool for a client a couple of years ago, custom module, and there's a screen you can authenticate and press a button, and it uses SQL replication behind the scenes, does a live compare, and then you can push all your pages, files, whatever you want. Yeah, I bet actually it's on my big list of things to look at.
I can see, to be quite honest, Mike, I can see a tool like that used by the organizations, the kind of organization that Scott has to deal with quite a lot.
We actually built something. It didn't go really well. It was even more involved, where it's like true content staging, where it would use like a Git, like a source code repository under the covers to move your data and changes into that and version control it and figure out what you wanted to push out. Because like Sitecore and things like that, not only do they have true content staging like that where it pushes to a server, but you can even create change sets like, oh, I only want these few pieces to go as a package. And one of the biggest problems we had with that was the database, right? The DNN database, a lot of the tables are built with identities, auto-incremented integers, whereas we needed to change the data structure to use like global, what do you call them? Global GUIDs or something. GUIDs. Yeah, so that you could truly push data without accidentally screwing up, because you have two systems that are changing, your staging, your production changing at the same time. So if I pushed a piece of data in with a key that's already there as another piece of data, that was a big problem. So really for us, the database was the thing that didn't allow that to take.
What we did was we would the production one, there'd be a little setting flipped in the web config that would basically completely lock down editing capabilities.
Yeah, content locking.
So you couldn't do any, you couldn't get out of sync, and that's how we got around to that one. But we'll talk later.
I see I see that future. I see that future. Let's see when it will come to fruition.
You find me a bunch of people that want it, Anderson, and I'll make it happen.
Well, again, here's the thing. I mean, what comes first? No, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, okay, so good. So that was the second one from our friend Daniel Mettler. So keep going here. Well, this is just not just, but this is the DNN Digest. This is just the digest. Well, I can rap, you know. Who knew that I could? Maybe I'm just inspired by Jeff Hardy, you know. Okay, DNN Digest with a summary of what went on, put together by our friend Clint Patterson, and we have been featured as well as a group with the dismemberment edition of last month. So we have to come up with a creative title for this one. You know, maybe the rapping thing. Okay, so that's a summary of what went on. Very well put together by Clint Patterson. I have not seen many recordings over the past month. Again, maybe people are just busy with
so how do we know that?
with DNN Summit, but I have not seen.
The notepad that we just had open.
Well, let me pause this. I have not seen So Fried. I have not seen any DNN Hangout. So again, things are quiet there.
Yeah.
What I want to mention
So Fried
is
took the month off because
okay.
I think basically Ryan had to work on the lightsaber.
Yeah.
On the lightsaber,
And
on the medals
everything
as well.
else. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's yeah. He had a lot of work there, manufacturing stuff for DNN Summit. Good job, Brian. Again, very very appreciated, and I'm sure that it becomes one of those many collectibles that we have going around in the DNN ecosystem. You know. Great. Okay, so just want to quickly mention the fact that we had a good meetup last time with Andrew Hofflin on the TADUG meetup. To be quite honest, I didn't even polish this post yet on YouTube, but I will. But he was talking about the DNN Keymaster, which is an open source extension to be able to store, private information that you don't want to store in the web config, like connection to database, to be able to store that in what it's called Azure Key Vault. So if you are interested in tidying up your DNN website security-wise, you may want to check this talk from Andrew Hoffling. It was a very good one. And as a segue, the next TADUG will be happening on March 6th. It's a Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And he committed to that, so that's why I'm announcing this. Daniel Mettler will be the one presenting. I'm sure that it will be around 2sex content. I don't have a definite title for the presentation yet, but should be around that. And this was actually a request from one of the TADUG members. Someone sent me an email, asked, hey, how about we try to get Daniel Mettler to present on 2sex, So let's see what he will come up with. I'm sure that it will be, it will be interesting. So again, March 6th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. TADUG meetup, and here is the meetup page. So again, join us. Okay, talking about events, we are again over DNN Summit, and we are on to the next one. So DNN Connect will happen on June 6th through 9th, and it will be on Champéry, Switzerland, in the Swiss Alps.
And it's a week later. It's a week later than normally is, so maybe some people can get in there after their kids are out of school.
Awesome.
So everybody say hi to Diana.
Hi.
Hi, Diana. Good to see you.
Nice.
Okay, so the registration is open, and here's the registration page. I don't know if there is I think that there is a special rating going on right now for early bird
I think it expires
registration
at the end of the month, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Okay, great. So
I was hoping to go through March.
yeah, I mean, I don't see any details about dates for early registration here in their registration page. But oh, actually, there is a cross. Yeah, there is a bit of a break. Yeah, I see the numbers. Yeah, apparently it's regular. It's 350, and right now it's 300 euros. So again, take advantage of the early registration. I don't have any other information at this point for DNN Connect. Anybody has anything there to mention? Okay, I will take that as a no. Going on here, moving on, sorry. DNN Open Friday, every Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We are always getting together. I'm at least there just to give the initial intro, but it's right within my one of my classes, so I have not been able to be there, every single time. But people keep coming, and some people actually from from DNNSummit, some people got to know that it's a place to ask questions, to answer questions, and we got more registrations there as well. So it's always growing a little bit. I'm not pushing it too hard at this point, to be quite honest, because my head is all over the place. But it's going on strong. People are not only talking on Fridays, but all through the week. So again, it's a Slack channel, and you can go there at any point in time, to ask a question. I've tried to see if we could focus on Fridays, just to be there real time online. Otherwise, it would not be different from a forum or from a Facebook post. But hey, it's there, deskpaul.com/open. Just register and you are in.
Yeah,
I see, Mike, that you are always there. Thank you very much for that, Mike.
I don't get to stay the whole duration, but I try to pop my head in and just see if anyone's around.
And you are there as well, Joe. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I've seen people who are not strangers to DNN asking questions, and also people have been leaving questions and comments pretty much all during the week. So it's another place to go to get help.
Actually, originally I named it as DNN Open Help, because then eventually, I mean, it's not only about Fridays. We can get help at any point. I just thought that in a slot, if we can be there at the same time, it would help move things along a little bit more. Okay, let's go. I have news. I have a new engagement tool. Let's put it this way, for our Guess the Fake. Our Guess the Fake today, we're gonna change the rules of engagement a little bit here. So I'm gonna share with the three of you a link, and let me see if I can get through this myself first. So 1 second. Okay, so the first option is Dark Knight Mobile. The second one is Facebook. The third one is Dark Knight. The fourth one, you see, it's all different from yours.
You're just going in reverse. It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, tell me which one is the fake one, please. Let's make this.
So we have Gravity, Minimal Entropy, Zillion, Dark Knight, Facebook, and Dark Knight Mobile.
Yes.
I know what the fake is.
Okay. Now let me just put the song, please. Give me 10 seconds.
The fake.
I need some relaxation here. I'm too stressed out.
We've already lost all of our viewers by now.
Okay, so it seems that you guys are logged in.
Yeah,
you guys are logged in now. Yeah, forget it. Just tell me the bloody thing. I mean, Mike, let's start with you, Mike.
They all look really familiar to me. It's what's not a default theme? Is that the question?
So from DNN 5 up to now, we always have default schemes,
or a shipped
themes.
Is it
okay.
shipped that were
shipped.
Not
So again, So again, from 5 to now, all of these were out-of-the-box skins, except one.
I'll say, I think they all are. We'll use Facebook.
Okay, Scott?
I know it's wrong.
Minimal entropy sounds familiar, but I don't think that was a skin. That may be a third party, so I'm going to go with that.
Joe?
Yep. The out of the box theme was minimal extropy.
Oh,
That's a good
Which
one.
I always misread until I realized it didn't say entropy.
Nice.
so there was actually a skin
changed-
called
Yeah.
Facebook.
There is actually
Yes.
there. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what is the purpose of that skin, but there is a Facebook skin. Yes, it's minimal extropy, not entropy. By the way, Nearpod, guys, it's a great tool. I don't know. This setup here today just screwed up Nearpods, but it's a great tool.
But don't use it on the weekend.
more to that.
Don't use it on the weekend.
Now here is the real question. Of all of these, which was the best of this group?
The
None of
best.
it.
Is or was the best of this group?
Gravity, I guess.
I don't know. I think that Gravity was a good one. You know. What do you think?
Yeah, I always loved the gravity theme. The Exilian theme, there's actually an Exilian 2.0, which was Exilian worked over by Jeff Barlow, which is modern, and it includes Bootstrap 4, I think.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah,
Was Gravity done by Gravity Works, the company?
I think so. But
Okay.
yeah, and Ernst Peter's team had a hand in several of these, but I can't remember which. I think they did Exilian as well.
Anyway, after this debacle, I mean, as you can see, big fail. That's fine. That's fine. Now, let's go to the last segment here. And this is what will make this even funnier. This is, again, the apps of this whole thing. So the last segment is what's exciting, what's new. Just to break it apart a little bit, let's start with you, Scott. What's exciting, what's new from your side?
I'm getting too old to talk about excitement. There's nothing exciting. No, I'm just, no. Exciting for me, I guess, would be, I don't know. I think hopefully getting involved in some of this new stuff that's coming to get us to .NET Core. I don't know, all the performance improvements and that kind of stuff. That's exciting. I know that's not exciting to anybody else. That's not a nerd.
No, it's not about us. It's about you.
Yeah.
You know, it's about you.
Yeah, I'll come up with something better.
Joe. That's okay. Joe.
Well, I'll just give a tip of the hat to Chris Hammond and Scott Wilkinson. I had to churn out 2 modules and a scheduled task this last month, and it was quite a bit under the gun, as in very little time to think. And so Chris Hammond's default module that comes with his templates, I use that item thing, which is, I mean, it's minor modifications, and I had what I needed. And hats off to Scott for his scheduled tasks thing, especially the bit where the installer actually installs the scheduled task in the schedule. So, with those that, besides the fact that they worked, it saved me a lot of time in having to start from scratch with either one of them. So I don't know that that was new or exciting, but it sure the heck was helpful.
You should have just taken my class at the conference. You should have taken my class at the conference. We went over scheduled tasks.
I should have, and I should be one of the ones hung over in a snowbank right now, but the snowbank in my backyard melted yesterday.
Well, I'm gonna get to that. Anyway, Mike, your turn. What's exciting aside from, again, debate?
Yeah, just started getting back to work this past week. That's not too exciting, but from a not a DNN thing, but one thing I'm kind of excited about is I think it's this week is it's a big mobile conference in Europe, and Microsoft. There's a rumor that they might be announcing the new version of the HoloLens. So I follow that kind of news pretty closely. So I'm pretty interested about that this week. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. Yeah.
Good enough. Okay, so let me bore you guys to that. And that's where I don't even know the words, but what's new and exciting to me was this bloody thing that didn't work for us right now. Nearpods. Again, Nearpods. And I'm very involved now with teaching. So Nearpod is a teaching tool, which does work well. And again, for some reason, something happened here today that didn't work quite well. But again, Scott, it's very good for training, very good for engagement of when you are training people. You can build quizzes, you can build pools, you can build all kinds of collaboration boards. You can have everybody loading to the same Nearpods. You can have people posting questions, people that don't like to voice the question, they can type in questions. Again, very, very powerful platform. I'm really enjoying that and using that quite a lot in my classes, which are let's put it this way, a lot more work than I anticipated, but a lot more enjoyable than I anticipated as well. So both sides of the same coin. More work, but more enjoyable too. So again, nearpod.com. If you need to present, you can put slides there. Again, if you want to make your presentation or your training session of any sort, it might be technical, it might be non-technical, more engaging with your crowd. If they are in their laptops, have a look at Nearpods. It's more about teaching in education scenarios, but you can use that for teaching in a corporate scenario as well. So again, very good tool.
Nice.
Guys, we went overboard because of our coverage of DNN Summit, but that was great. I really appreciate your insights there, Scott. Anything else before we say our goodbyes? Anybody? Or we just want to move on and get this done? Yes.
For the sake of our watchers, yes.
We shall meet again. We shall meet again at the end of March. Thank you very much. I'll see you in a month. Bye.